Today I want to talk about a question that some of you might find superfluous, but is close to my heart, and I think is actually a really good question, which is, what does the best drummer on planet Earth look like? And I don't mean like, does he have a beard, or does he have a little stubble? I mean like qualities, of course. And I'll start off saying this. He's got to have chops, right? Like, if we're going to call him the best on planet Earth, he's got to have chops. But in the same right, he's got to have pocket. He's got to have groove. He's got to have great feel. And I guess this is where some people will defer. Some people will look at, like, Virgil Donati and be like, well, he's got really good pocket or feel. And others will be like, well, his timing is certainly like impeccable, but does it feel really good? But then there's guys like Vinny, who most cats will say unequivocally he's got good feel. Or like Nate Smith, amazing feel. But Nate Smith, then he doesn't have the chops. So like there's a whole criteria that I would say kind of constitutes somebody earning that title. And why I think it's important is because not just to say like for that person to be like, I'm the best, or to people to be like, we have a number one, but it's aspiration for drummers to be like, holy crap, a guy literally can do all these things. Because people will be like, oh, well, any guy who's good at swing, he's not going to be good at metal. He's not going to be good at double bass, and vice versa. So it's important for us to see that this sort of thing is possible. And that's actually another one of my criteria, is for earning that best drummer spot, or at least in the running. I feel like you got to be playing double bass. Okay, so does Weckl get in with the amount of double bass he plays? Is he really doing double bass, like metal style double bass, or like runs, or like anything interesting like or something like that, where it's like not just for fills and chops? No, he's not really doing that. But still, I think he would. It could get in. He could get in. It's something, and it's like a whole thing to learn double bass. It's no joke. In fact, that's what I'm about to embark on right now. Practicing is working on double bass, because mine is gone to absolute shit since I've taken a vacation in Kauai and really let myself go, we'll say. So double bass is in it, but also swinging is too. That's one of the criteria. If somebody can't swing, that just shows that they've put zero time into learning one of the greatest drumming styles there are out there. One of the top three for sure, I would say, for drummers and for drumming, and it contributes to modern drumming massively. Probably top two, actually, but I don't know. It's an important style, and so if somebody's kind of totally disregarding that, then that's fine. They can be an artist and like do that, but like now you're not in the running for the best drummer in the world, man. It's like, to be able to do everything, it's pretty amazing. Billy Cobham is one of those guys who can swing his butt off, but he also does double bass, and he was doing hot for teacher type style double bass. He was doing that like 10 years before Hot for Teacher came out, by the way. So, yeah, Billy Cobham, he's definitely in the running. But yeah, what else? Well, yeah, he gets in with his amount of double bass for sure, and he can swing. What's another one? I would say another criteria is like odd time or like interesting. Yeah, I would say odd time. And even if it's not odd time, even if it's just 3/4 and 4/4 and 6, like you've got quintuplets or septuplets, maybe you've really shown like a mastery of those. But even still, I feel like, 7 and 5 is like pretty basic. So like being able to really stretch over that. I guess that's another important thing for me holding somebody in that regard is somebody that can stretch and improvise over stuff. So a guy that just like learns parts and learns a whole entire solo and can play the whole solo and plays it the same way every time, like Neil Peart. Not to knock Neil Peart, you guys are probably gonna hate on me like crazy, but I do feel like Cat's got to be able to stretch, and that really shows another level of having it within you, like deep within you. And vice versa, I would say there's guys who all they do is stretch. All they do is improvise all the time. And they're incredible players, but you never hear them play parts. You never hear them play a part that goes to a song, and then you're like, I recognize this part for this part of the song or whatever. Usually when they do something really cool, it's never repeated again, or if it is, it's never quite the same, So I think one's ability to compose is important. And I guess maybe you can disagree with me on some of these criteria and stuff, but I think it's a good exercise for you to do for yourself to be like, well, what do I think the best drummer in the world is? And I mean, some would say it's a totally subjective thing, completely subjective. I disagree. I think there's definitely an understanding of, okay, this he's good, he's a good player, but this guy's objectively better. He just has more chops. He has his vocabulary's way better. His ability to play parts and execute them very precisely. It's just better. And you got to go by okay, so we're all living a subjective experience. So anything could be, and so all art is subjective. It's no, we have Beethoven, Mozart, we have Stravinsky, we have these guys who everyone kind of says these are the biggest guys, the biggest players. And it happens all the time. And this brings another interesting thing into question, which is, does it matter? So is everyone's subjective experience, does that matter? Yes, that matters. And then everyone pulling together and trying to come up with something objective, does that matter? Yes, that matters. But if everyone on planet Earth is not everyone, but let's just say it's 50.5% of people on planet Earth are Ringo Starr is the best drummer ever. Well, then do we just have to be well, I guess the numbers are in? No, because not everyone's opinion holds equal weight. And I know some of this, to some people, that really hurts to hear, because maybe they feel their opinion would be inferior, or maybe they don't like that someone else's opinion matters more or holds more weight, but like, or that their opinion has more authority. But I think this is just a fact of life. Like, we all divert to experts, scientific experts. We, put people in certain positions because of their competency in those regards. So we do this all the time, and society, actually, the crux of society is like based upon this. So anyone, to me, that is saying that everyone's opinion should be held equal is kind of like, you're an ideologue. And I know it's dehumanizing to some degree, but it's also humanizing, because we, not every person is going to be an expert in everything. So like, that's where it's like, we all need each other, and we all should defer to each other for each other's expertise. Why do I feel the need to say that? I don't know, because it's 2024 and because the last 15 years have happened, I guess. But anyways, your subjective opinion matters, and then the vote matters. If everyone really likes a certain player, I think that matters. I don't think it's nothing, because, but like, a 4-year-old girl, like, does her opinion have the same weight as my opinion, even though I've done 35,000 hours of practice and like countless thousands of hours of research and watching and listening to music and studying it and being educated by people who also have similar levels of education? No, I don't think that's right. That doesn't seem intuitively right. So then there's expertise. Then there's like, who do the best guys say are the best guys? And I've always listened to that. Even as a child, I knew, I want to know who Tony Royster is listening to. I want to know who Dennis Chambers was listening to. I want to know who all these guys, the guys that are older than me that can, play better than me. I want to know who they're listening to. And I want to listen to them. And try to understand them. So anyways, that's why I generally think this conversation is important to have, is because it helps us kind of like figure out what our own ethos is for deciding who the best drummer on planet Earth is, and it gives us something to aspire to, and gives us like me personally, I've always looked at it that way. I've always looked at like, not just ranking, but being like, what do I like from which players? And like, how could I create a monstrosity? The monstrosity being me. Like, how could I take Vinnie Caliuta's fluidity, take Dave Weckles' fluidity and dynamics, and like, triplet stuff, take Dennis Chambers' power and speed, that combo, because it's not just speed, because you could be like, and on a pad, and it's like, it sounds like, but then you get on a kit and it sounds like, and I actually heard this with this one guy who was the fastest drummer on earth at the time I did this COSA camp, and it was like, I was 16, so this was fucking 19 years ago or something. Don't make me do math. Fuck. Anyways, it did not sound good. And same with his feet. I think his feet, he was the fastest, or like second fastest or something like that. But it was like, like acoustically in the room, it was trash. So I think it's not just speed, and it's not just like beating the absolute piss out of the drums, because yeah, that's a thing, and it's tough to do. And, you know, I knew it was tough to do when I was young, but, like, you know, when I joined Animals and I was already smashing, and they're like, dude, smash more. We need, like, you need to be louder. I was like, what? It's like, it made it harder playing that stuff. So, like, playing it with proper power to, like, project and slay in person, have people feel that, it's tough. And I just played with Tigran Hamassian in Amsterdam for this new project he's got. And, like, I found myself, like, I mean, I really had to hold back. I've always, like, worked on dynamics back home and doing little club stuff. Like, I usually have to, like, play to the room and play to what other volume everyone else is at. I'm not one of these guys that just comes in and is like, I'm gonna play and it's gonna be however loud it's gonna be and you guys need to adjust to me. Like, I'm like, this is a team building exercise. Let's, you know, so I've always kind of had that, but, like, it's to a different level whenever there's microphones on the piano that are picking up a lot of drums. It was really kind of startling how much drums are picked up by those mics. So it takes a great degree of restraint. So we have, like, that restraint that's like and touch and sound, like purity of sound, sounding really good, and compression. Actually, it sounds better when you play softer. I'm pretty sure that it actually sounds like more badass than playing really loud, but, like, we'll get into that another time. But anyways, yeah, then there's playing super hard and smashing, and yeah, coming home from playing very gently, and like I feel like I didn't get any workout. Like, there was no physical strain whatsoever, because I'm used to bashing with the Animals and, like, playing so freaking loud and fast. And it's the combo, because, like, just sitting back and chopping, like, super quiet is, like, effortless. So it's those two things being combined that really makes it something else. All right, another criteria that I think is important is composition. So if a guy is just, like, amazing, incredible, and he can play any style, and just the best guy, and does all these sessions, a million sessions, but he's not on any music, that to me is like a red flag. Why do I say red flag for this? Yeah, that's the best term I got, is red flag. Because why? Like, do you not like music? Like, obviously, you're playing a musical instrument, but, like, you don't like other musicians. Okay, well, you just do it when you do it. Like, you don't have the ability to put a project together or put music together, like, in a cohesive form and be like, here it is. Like, I think that's important for artists, musicians to do, is to be able to pull together, be able to organize, and make a piece of art that is, like, not just thrown together, not just a YouTube video or an Instagram video, but it's, like, from your heart, and that you are sanctioning, you're signing off on it and being like, releasing this into the public. So I think that's an important part of somebody making it onto this list. And I'm already 20 minutes deep, so I apologize, y'all. I want it to be fast and efficient. I feel like I'm being fast, but what else? Phrasing. So they can't just have speed and like good groove. Like their phrasing to me has to be glued together nicely. And I need to hear that like they're speaking when they're playing. And the other thing that I think is really important is identity. And you can't just like, you could be like, okay, we'll just program an AI to do all the things you just said, Matt. And now the AI is the best drummer on planet Earth. Here's the thing, AI is not good at creative. It's good at taking what information you give it, and then it needs to be fed information. If it had no information, it couldn't create. So don't come at me with this BS. It needs to be fed a massive amount of information to know what to do. So that's where I would say, there are guys that I love their playing. I love Mark Giuliano's playing. He's very characteristic, very identifiable sound. Same with Benny Greb, very identifiable sound, and they've built their own voice. And honestly, it's like, is that enough? I think that's pretty much, that's enough. Because every person, kind of should have their own identity and try to, create their own world, their own drumming world. But yeah, of course, it's never enough for me. I'm always like, but like, what if that world had every other world kind of in it? It was like, the ultimate place that you never wanted to leave. Because that's also the thing too, is when guys have an identity, and you can get worn out on those guys, like Vinny, and there's a lot of Vinny stuff to listen to before you get worn out on Vinny. But I think it probably happens to almost every drummer at some point. They got to go through a Vinny phase. So if you're sitting here and you're like, no, I never did that, well, it's time, because all the good guys, they go through a Vinny phase. Anyways, I think that pretty much sums it up. But having a discernible contribution that you're making that changes the drumming world, and the drumming world would otherwise not be the same if you weren't there, that I think is very significant. So I hope you guys don't think I'm just like some a-hole that's like, who's the best, and that's really what matters. And it's not. But I think it's important to have the conversation. Drop in the comments below maybe what you think I missed, and I'll probably concede that it's important. Dynamics, I basically kind of said that with like, and dynamics, I don't mean like being able to play like really soft and then like pretty loud. I mean like being able to play super soft. That's more dynamic. That's what dynamics means. So like a lot of guys, they either sit here where they're like the jazz guys, and like when they get loud, it's like, yeah, that's fairly loud. And then you got the guys who are just hard hitters, and they don't really go past below the loud. So it's always loud, but then they have really loud, But then you got guys, who, I don't know, defy that, I guess. Anyways, let me know what you think I missed. Let me know what you would say would make somebody in the running, put somebody in the running. What are the criteria that you would personally see as like the ultimate drummer? The guy who's like, the Desert Island thing, where they're like, if you had one record to listen to, or one artist, who would it be? What drummer would that guy be? Or would he be a Frankenstein that doesn't exist yet? And that's an even cool, actually, say that. Say what your Frankenstein looks like. What does your Frankenstein look like? What qualities from what guys are you taking? You know, are you taking Ronald Bruner's absolute spontaneity and like psychotic sporadicness, you know? Are you taking I don't know, Nate Smith's groove? I'd take Nate Smith's groove. Yeah. Post it below.